South Africa has lost 700 billion rand to corruption over the last 20 years. That's according to the newly launched Anti-Intimidation and Ethical Practices Forum. Accounting and auditing professional bodies have joined forces with the National Treasury, the Auditor General and the Office of the Public Protector, the Institute of Internal Auditors, to form a forum. Now, the organizations say the victimization of auditors and other whistleblowers is rife amid the high levels of corruption in the country. Whistleblowers are often hounded out of their jobs, threatened, and even killed for sounding the alarm on corrupt practices. The forum wants to better protect whistleblowers and say they will encourage more people to come forward and expose corrupt practices. Well, Dr. Claudel von Eck, CEO of the Institute of Internal Auditors, she's on that forum. She joins us now. Doc, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, 700 billion rand lost to corruption in 20 years. That paints a very bleak picture, doesn't it?
It's frightening. It's frightening. I work with internal auditors all the time, and even I can't get my head around that figure.
How do we get to a point where in the past 20 years we've had such an amount filter through the cracks and get out of our system? And I would imagine the big point here, and especially with this forum, is not to allow those corrupt individuals to get away with it.
Absolutely, and I think that has been one of our biggest problems in South Africa. Consequences, visible consequences not always being there when we need them to be there. So there's a ripple effect. So if I see that you get away with it, then I'm also going to jump in and get onto the gravy train, as we've commonly referred to it, and get away with it, and then the next person also gets away with it. What we really sorely lack in this country is visible consequences.
Yeah. You've got some big names here, yourself, Kemi Makwetu, the Auditor General, the Deputy Public Protector, Kevin Malunga. Hopefully we can get past this scenario where people escape punishment, but where do we start?
Look, I think the first point of call is to say to those that see what is happening, that here is a platform, here is a way that you can voice your concerns. First and foremost, as the professional bodies have come together, professional bodies represent those people who call themselves professionals in various spheres. And on the one hand, to be able to say to them, here's an umbrella. Yeah. Therefore, if you do speak up and you are concerned about your safety, at least under the umbrella, you can hide behind being anonymous. Secondly, I think that the more and more we have of that protection, more people will then come forward. But we as professional bodies have a role to play in mobilizing our members and saying to them, you are guardians of governance. Yeah. Step up and be the guardians. And then, of course, on the other side as well, as professional bodies, we also have a responsibility to protect the public in terms of disciplining those professionals who are part of the problem. Yeah. And we do need to take visible action there as well.
Now, the issue of incentivizing the whistleblower, this has come up again and again. It seems as though whistleblowers do not get enough incentives. How do we change that? Do we need to change it?
Yeah, that's an interesting debate, because you can look at it from two sides. Because on the one hand, one could say, well, your incentive should really be, and this is where my sentiments lie, your incentive should be a sound, clean South Africa that we can hand over to the next generation. You know, I always say that I think we fear the wrong things. What we should fear is a country that falls apart. So if everybody plays their part, so that for me is a strong enough incentive. There are others that believe that there should be more incentives, that there should be, for example, monetary incentives. So when I speak up and I blow up something big, that I do get a reward for it. There's a very fine line, and I think there may be a place for that, but you also don't want to get into a situation where I'm only going to speak up if you're going to give me money for it. Yeah. That is not driving the right behavior.
Well, the issue of whistleblowers, important indeed when you consider some of the stats. I mean, almost 50% of organizational fraud last year detected by tip-offs. And you realize how important it is to protect the whistleblower here. So then again, you can't run away from the issue of incentivizing when you look at a stat like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as I said, I do think there's a place for it. Yep. But I do think one has to be careful that you don't become a state where everybody once you will only do something if you're going to get money for it. We do need to get some pride in being a South African. I am a South African first, and therefore I want to protect my country. And everybody who has kids, also I would think the incentive for them would be, what am I going to leave for my children? Am I contributing to a country that is a great country to live in? Or am I contributing to a failed state in my silence?
A final question, Doc, before you leave us. I mean, you have bodies like the Public Protector, the Auditor General. I mean, these are monitoring bodies, if you like, that guard against corruption in any event. What will the consolidation of these bodies coming together, forming the forum, bring that will be different?
I think what would be very different this time around is, at the moment, everything is being done in isolation. So everybody does their bit. But when we come together as a collective, I believe together we are much stronger. I always say we're either going to row together or we're going to sing separately.
We're going to leave it there. Dr. Claudel van Eck, CEO of the Institute of Internal Auditors, thanks indeed for your time.
Thank you.